community-based management and integrated development are the best approaches that we could use in our situation to tackle the day-to-day problems that we face.
There is now people involvement. I think that's the most important.
Izvo tinongati izvozvo zvachinenge kuti zvetinonga tichidawo rutibatsirawo tinobvuma kuti zviri zvine kamutsauko.
There's dialogue now, there's trust between the residents and the local authority.
The residents are now understanding their roles within the community.
Despite the legal provisions for citizen participation in the affairs of local authorities enshrined in the Urban Councils Act, the practice of community participation in urban planning is relatively low in Zimbabwe. As a result, poor communities continue to be sidelined in the planning process, which has resulted in their voices being excluded in service provision priorities. This, in combination with other factors, has resulted in poor service delivery, whose current symptoms include erratic water supplies, failing waste management, poorly maintained roads, chronic sewage blockages, and unresolved tenure issues. In response to these challenges, Practical Action Southern Africa has been implementing a 4-year project called Promoting Examples of Participatory Local Empowerment in Urban Planning Project. People Up. The project started in 2009 and runs until 2013. Funded by the European Commission through the Non-State Actors Program, the project seeks to improve the living conditions of poor and marginalized urban and peri-urban residents in Epworth and Mutare and Epworth by accessing and sustaining basic municipal and infrastructure services.
The People Up project is an acronym for Promoting Examples of Participatory Local Empowerment in Urban Planning. The project is in Mutare and Epworth, and the project is seeking to promote participatory methodologies within the two local authorities, that is, the residents being able to participate in decision making of the local authorities. And then also we are seeking to improve the livelihoods of the residents within these two sites through various income generating activities like brick molding, waste management, water and sanitation services in conjunction with the two local authorities. The project was in response to poor service delivery in the two sites. For example, uncollected waste, erratic water supplies, depleting infrastructure, particularly common infrastructure in the case of Sakuva. And so basically what the project was trying to achieve is to bring the local authority, that is the service provider, and the residents, the recipients of that service, to find a common working space for them to alleviate the situation in the two sites.
The project is being implemented through a partnership involving the Mutare Housing Cooperatives District Union, MDU, and the Civic Forum on Housing, CFH. Project work is also being carried out in close cooperation with the Mutare City Council, the Epworth Local Board, and the Urban Councils Association of Zimbabwe.
Practical Action in 2009 introduced a project called People Up. This basically was a project which empowered or which intended to empower urban communities in their lobby and advocacy thrust. Besides that, it also sought to give skills to people in terms of planning, in terms of demanding the methods that they should use when they demand services from local authorities. Under People Up project, we had a component of community-based planning, which we did as partners to the wards, 5 wards in Sakuba, which is one of the suburbs, or the suburb in Mutare.
This project started by inception, that is, it's inaugural, which involved the central government and other key stakeholders. From there, then it moved further to bring the various players on the ground, that is the local authorities, to understand. The local authority is the arm of the central government at local level, to understand the process that the project was to go through, which included key involving of citizens in the planning process, identification of their needs through a community-based planning process. Then from there, after the planning process, it made that there were some key livelihood issues that emerged that resulted in the development or formulation of income-generating projects in the form of brick-making enterprises. Then that was supported by the project in the form of equipment and starting resources in the form of cement, training also of the members as a way of making sure that the enterprise will be viable at the end of the project. Then I think also critical there was the production of word-based plans, which identified the priorities of the communities, and also it fed into the strategic plan of the local authority, the 5-year strategic plan.
Now in its 4th and final year of implementation, the project has been successful in integrating community-based planning as a system that engages poor and vulnerable urban and peri-urban communities to improve the quality of their plans and services. This has influenced resource allocation and increased the participation of urban residents in the governance of delivery of basic municipal and infrastructure services.
Basically, when you look at community-based planning, we're talking about planning. And when you look at the local government, the statutes and what is required, every council, be it rural, be it urban, is required to come out with a plan every year. So the difference here is when we talk of community-based planning, we are talking of a plan that is done with and for the community, which basically looks at priorities of the communities, the projects of the communities. It's a plan that is developed from a strength-based, because it is based on the opportunities that are available in the community, as opposed to a problem-based plan.
This system empowers citizens to be involved in the affairs of the local authorities. So from our point of view, it is a dynamic system that deals with urban management from a holistic point of view. Hence, I find out that it reduces conflicts between the administrators and the citizens, because the citizens will be, their views will also be taken on board. And also, I think the system is also trying to remove from the theories where the technocrats would plan for the citizens. So generally, we believe it empowers citizens.
What we did was, the first thing was we did mobilization of stakeholders that we thought were very relevant in our efforts to implement this project. We had, for an example, ministry departments that participated, parastatals, we had local leaderships, we had church members and the local authorities. We started with a workshop which we were taken through by practical action with all these stakeholders that I've said, including community members. This was to put them in the picture and make them perhaps really grasp the concept of the community-based planning. After that, we went around, have some interviews, have some face-to-face discussion, some face-to-face lobbying advocacy to our local leaders, in this case the councillors, to introduce them to the whole concept, even though they were taken through the training. But we felt we really needed to go down to them, sit with them in their respective wards, actually explaining what we intend to do. So we are able to win the hearts of the councillors. All the councillors in wards 1 to 5 in Sakupa did understand. From there, then we went on to political leadership within those 5 wards again, because we knew without them there was not going to be participation from their members.
Isu takaona kuti chipfungwa yekuti chiti zvifungire zvinhu zvedu isusu sema-residents zvakatipa pakabuda imwe pfungwa yanga isingasombongi nema-residents. Kazhinji ma-residents anga aingoti zvinhu zvese ndezvekanzo tisina that pfungwa yekutoti chino isusu tisu varidziwe zvinhu zvese zviri mucommunity, ma-resources ese ari around us, ari within our wards. Taingoti ndezvekanzo. Saka vanhu vainga vaine pfungwa dzevandalism nekutongosabatikana nekugadzirisawo zvinhu zvavanokwanisa kunge achikwanisa kugadzirisa pachezvawo semawards. Aingoti ndezvekanzo. Tisingazivi kuti kanzo yacho hakuna mhuka inonzi kanzo sekanzo, kungoti kanzo inonga ichitobatanidzira nesusu ma-residents titori ma-biggest stakeholders ekanzo yacho, noti tisu ma-residents tisu tino ma-rate payers. That sense of ownership vanga pasina, noti taingoti ndezvekanzo. Mari dzedu dzetaibhadhara titozivi kuti dzaienda kupi, noti taingoti hameno ikoko tirobhadhara kanzo, tisingazivi kuti we are paying for ma-services etinonga tinofanirwa kuwanawo. Ipapo pakabva pazotobuda pfungwa dzekuti takaimpower kuti we should demand for services dzatiri kubhadhara. Kana tikabuditsa mari yemvura, ma-water charges, tofanirwa kuiwana mvura yacho. Tikaishaya tofanirwa kutodhimanda, but tichishandisa channel yakadini yakanaka inoumba ukama hwedu necouncil management kuitira kuti zvinhu zvidini zvifambe mugwara rakanaka.
Izvo tinongati izvozvo zvachinge ngekuti zvetinonga tichidawo rutibatsirawo tinobvuma kuti zviri zvine kamutsauko. Ekanzuro tingati nekanzuro tikushanda do zvakanakisisa nayo. Hatina dambudziko nekanzuro.
The project has also been able to organize residents to form enterprise groups as a way of creating employment opportunities and increasing incomes.
The project has managed to set up brick making groups, and we started with 3 from 3 wards, and they've now doubled to 6. Each group is made up of 10, so we're now about 60 who have directly benefited from brick making. We're making an average of about 10 to 12,000 bricks per month, and each brick costs about 12 cents. So each group in a month can come up with about $1,300 to $1,600, which we share among the 10 people.
For the city of Mutare and Epworth Local Board, some of the results that have been achieved by the project include the following. Strengthened local authorities that have established structures and processes to consult and fully integrate infrastructure service delivery needs and priorities of urban and peri-urban residents. Enhanced capacity and voices of local communities and their leaders to understand and demand improved service delivery and increase income and employment opportunities for the urban and peri-urban communities. Formation of partnerships that increase income and employment opportunities for the urban and peri-urban service delivery.
We are talking about the inception of community-based management in the city of Mutare wards. Our primary target was wards 1 to 5, but already we have gone up to ward 3 in terms of the actual implementation of the community-based management system within the city of Mutare. The biggest impact that we've realized was that if you hear that Mutare is one of the cleanest cities in the country, it is emanating from this establishment that we've put in place. The people of the respective wards have now realized that the council can best move forward
when the communities themselves, the beneficiaries, are involved in a number of programs that are to do with the actual service delivery and the general maintenance of systems.
There's quite an improved relationship between the residents and the local authority in that the residents are now understanding their roles within the community, and also the council is now viewing the residents as key stakeholders, and vice versa. Also, the residents are seeing the council as a key implementing agents for developmental issues, rather than seeing each other as enemies. We can now sit together, discuss the projects, how we want them to implement, and like I said, the issue of ownership of those projects is actually easier to buy in, because they now understand what role they must play as residents and what role council is playing.
As the project comes to an end, there have been emerging lessons and experiences gained.
The key lesson has been the approach to planning. That is, if you consult the people from the bottom and you take them up, right up to the top, the consultation process is all embracing, and everybody is there to accept what you will have agreed upon, because you are planning involving everybody from the grassroots. It reduces a lot of conflict. So we've had to extend that even to our budget consultation processes, project identification, and what people would want to see Mutare do in terms of service delivery. People become closer. You see, a local authority and the people, there is always a perceived conflict, because people are never satisfied with what a local authority is doing in terms of service delivery. But if you start with them, you close that gap, and you remove all the misconceptions that arise, that our money is being misused and we are not being consulted, and this is what is happening. So there's been a closure in the gap. So I can stand up here to go and address the people without fear, and the people can come and talk to me without fear, because we have been able to work together closely.
With local authorities at large in Zimbabwe still facing challenges in delivering services to citizens, the People Up project has aptly demonstrated how the transition from top-down to bottom-up approaches in planning for service delivery is equipping communities with the skills to understand and participate in the municipal planning processes. The successes that have been scored, and most importantly the lessons that have been generated, are providing an opportunity for replication and scaling up, not only in other local authorities in Zimbabwe, but in the Southern African region as a whole.